Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sprint 220 review. This is a normal 2-week sprint with a holiday in between. Let's get started. I'll start with the overview, Jeffrey on the UI, Adam on providers, and Joe on the platform. As you can see, this sprint, we had 149 PRs merged. The uptick comes from a blast out that we had to the new Quinteros branch that locked it down to Ruby 3.0 and removed Ruby 2.7 from the testing framework. The Quinteros branch will be the next release of ManageIQ. We've also created the Petrosian branch, and we should have a release pretty soon of Petrosian 1. And that's why this chart has 111 tests, because that's what changed in those blast outs. And over to Jeffrey on the UI.
Okay, in this sprint, we merged a total of 6 PRs into the UI Classic repository. Out of these, 2 PRs were related to bug fixes. 1 PR was for enhancing feature, and 3 PRs were for various other changes. I can explain about them in the following slides. Brandon added a few packages to resolve some incompatibility issues with Yarn 1.22 on S390X. Next slide. We encountered some issues with our custom notification message component, which was not rendering success and warning messages properly. As a result, we decided to refactor this component to improve its functionality. Next slide. Yeah. So we converted a summary page for the automated method page. Next slide. Joe updated the Ruby version in the ci.yaml file from 2.7 to 3.0 within the code coverage reporting section. Joe also removed some entries related to Ruby 2.7 from the metrics test suite. And Gilbert added Cypress tests for the chargeback rates. That's all from the UI side. Over to Adam.
Thanks, Jeffrey. For providers this sprint, in core, we deleted the container manager reconnect block. This was originally added to prevent any issues with accidentally disconnected inventory that would be rediscovered on the next full refresh. This was introducing a number of queries that were slowing down some cases, and so we decided to delete it since the original case for why it was added is no longer an issue, and so we were able to delete that. For Amazon, we updated the list of instance types, and for VMware, we bumped the VixDiskLib support library to pull in support for VDDK 801 and 802. Next slide. For the flow gem, we added all of the global Podman options as valid Docker runner arguments. So if you want to tweak how Podman is, how all the Podman commands are run, you're able to do that. And we did that in order to be able to override the Podman root image storage directory on appliances. By default, when running pods as a non-root user, it stores the images that get pulled in the home directory. And on an appliance, the home directory is quite small, and so it wasn't possible to download more than a few images to that location. So we're now storing them on the much larger var partition. And that is it for providers. Over to Joe.
Thanks, Adam. For platform enhancements, Nassar added SASL messaging updates. I switched our Rails autoloader from Classic to Zitework. Nassar also added an example for the root key for the internal certificate. And I converted ManageIQ gems pending to also use the Zitework autoloader. Next slide. For platform bugs, Brandon locked down our UBI image. Brandon also changed the Postgres container to use the Yum repo RPMs instead of the custom built ones. He also upgraded to the 10EL8 release to 10.23 of CentOS, and he upgraded to Go 1.21.0 in Podify for some CVE fixes. Adam added the sub-UID and sub-GID for the ManageIQ user, so it's runnable in non-privileged containers. Brandon fixed a bug due to the inconsistent naming of the core utils package on appliances and what it's named in containers. Brandon also fixed a bug in parsing the RPM spec. Keenan added missing RPM dependencies needed for creating a user. Adam skipped processing duplicate events, and Keenan fixed the guest device child devices references. Next slide. I fixed a bug after enabling Zeitwork by letting Bundler do the require and not specifying a custom require value in the gem file. Keenan dropped unnecessary dependent destroys. Adam fixed a longstanding bug where the MIQ region remote UI or remote WS URL return an invalid URL on Podify. I added a missing benchmark block around the metric rollup to parents. Adam fixed a bug found in development for the API system auth token, which was failing with the missing MIQ server. And I added a data migration to delete the invalid nil timestamp event streams. That's it for the platform. Next slide.
And that's all for our Sprint 220 review. The next Sprint review, 221, will be on September 20th at the usual place and time. And I'd like to thank everyone in the community, all our presenters today, and all the contributors to ManageIQ. Thanks, everyone.